Daycare centers and preschools play an important role in the American family. Without it, many families would not be able to survive financially. Even Secretary of Education Arne Duncan told America that access to early childhood education would be a vital initiative in President Obama's second term. Teachers in the early childhood education field strive to create the best environments for our young children to learn and grow. But when they are faced with a child who is demonstrating disruptive behavior, it makes their job incredibly difficult. When nothing seems to work in gaining that child's behavior, the next step is to call the parents for help or remove the child from the classroom. Let me offer you now 6 steps for including parents in insolvable disruptive behavior in the preschool classroom. The first thing we need to understand is make sure that the school and the teacher and the director has taken accountability for their part in this. And probably speaking to the choir, as they say, directors and teachers do a great job, don't get me wrong, but we need to make sure that the teachers have received adequate training. So that's rule 1. Before contacting the parents, one of the first things that we want to make sure that schools do is, have we taken the accountability for the teacher's education in the classroom? Make sure they've had enough adequate training so they know how to handle the different kinds of challenging behaviors that they deal with. The next thing is we have to make sure that we don't rule out seeking out a behavior analyst. That's what they're there for. The ABA provides incredible training so that we can easily understand behavior at those early ages. And sometimes all it takes is bringing in an analyst and having them view or monitor the classroom, and they can oftentimes find a problem. Finally, under contacting parents, an important thing to understand is if the teacher is not walking into that classroom in a calm and respectful and balanced manner, guess what happens? It can be picked up by the children and acted out in the classroom. So children, as I say, are affected by our adult emotional chaos. So make sure that teachers are taking care of themselves so they present a peaceful environment in the classroom. Number 2, we must remember to partner without judgment. All right? That means don't be so quick to blame parents for the problem. Now, it definitely could be created at home, but not all the time. Sometimes children's disruptive and challenging behavior is created from right inside the classroom. And it may not be the teacher's fault or the classroom. Sometimes children are affected by food they eat and lighting. We've got to make sure and keep an open mind when we're solving these problems. So make sure that you create an open atmosphere for working with the parents. Don't assume, and remember, what you put into a conflict, you'll get back. So you want to make sure and be fair about it, be open-minded, be caring, and be open to learning as well. The next one, clearly define the problem. It's hard for me to start with this one because teachers know the problem. Parents don't get it. So it's so important that you explain the problem in terms that the parents can understand. As teaching professionals, we are trained to know the differences in challenging behavior. Parents don't often realize that. So I just ask you to make sure that you clearly define it in terms that the parents can understand. And sometimes a child's challenging behavior is actually a result of unmet needs. Many psychologists over the years have told us that a misbehaving child is actually demonstrating a need that's unmet, such as power, such as attention. And if they don't get those adequately, then it could look like misbehavior to us. So one of the best things we can do is in educating our teachers to help them understand what is challenging behavior. It doesn't mean it's a bad child. Look at the behavior and say, what could that child be trying to tell me right now? Because if we take the time to find out, we may find out some very interesting things. Also, lastly, it could be the child is just immature and not ready for the classroom environment. In that case, then removing them may be a valid solution. Every child is not ready. They're at varying stages of emotional development. Sometimes there is no solution, and it just means the child's not ready yet. Let's go to the next one. Giving parents homework to do. Okay, so you can't just say, fix the problem. You got to tell them what to do. It's important that they understand what to look for. So clearly identify the challenging behavior that you're experiencing in the classroom and interpret it for the parents. Help them know what to look for in the home and say, is this happening at home? And if it's not, then you may be handling a situation that's only created in the classroom. Give them very specific actions and discipline measures at home. You're the education professional. Help them with that. And when children see the discipline being used in the classroom as well as at home, amazing things happen. Children actually begin developing greater cooperation. The next one is send progress reports home. Let parents know what's going on in the classroom. If you're seeing any progress, if there's things that they need to see that is changing that they can look for in the home. And finally, when all else fails, sometimes we may need to remove the child from the classroom. Do it kindly. Do it respectfully. Make sure that we don't send an email or a letter to tell this. This is something you should probably bring the parents in. I know if I was a parent, I would want to be told this in person. It's best to set up a brief meeting with the parents to let them know what's going on, communicate respectfully, and to help them understand that, you know what, Johnny may not be ready for the classroom environment at this point. So be respectful, be calm, take it one step at a time, and remember that the parents are on the same team with you, okay? They're on the same team, so treat them as a team member with respect. Historical research will show that the phrase, do as I say and not as I do, has been used throughout history. In the early 20th century, it became a common slogan used by parents. But we know today that children learn so much just by watching their parents live their lives. My next guest has some important things to say about the modeling parents provide to their children. We'll learn more right after this short break, so don't go away.